penso che tu stai viaggio all'anno, no?
Sì.
Io penso che hanno fatto quest'angolo, comunque lo faccio ridare
Well, welcome to the second day of dressage here, the FEI Eventing Nations Cup in Montelibretti. The first of 8 Nations Cup legs that will be taking place throughout 2024. We'll have our first horse down the centre line at 11:30. We have 19 riders coming forwards today. We had 24 come forwards yesterday. Total of 43 riders in this competition, 10 nations represented. And yesterday we had a superb day of dressage. It really was fantastic, especially for the Spanish. They kicked things off very well indeed. They're currently leading in the team competition with a team total of 130. But close behind them it is the home nation Italy with a 103.20 and Switzerland in third place with a team total of 104.10. That's the top 3 as it stands in the team competition. But that was all yesterday. Today we turn our attentions, like I say, to our 19 riders coming forwards. And the first we will see is for the home nation. First rider down the centre line, it will be Anna Baraka and Exclusive. This 15-year-old. Owned by Morgagni Laura. These riders today riding the brand new dressage test, the 2024 4-star test C. So, a brand new test for 2024. It's been lovely watching the riders yesterday run through this new test. And of course, the people they have to impress are our ground jury. We have 3 members of the ground jury for this Nations Cup. President of the ground jury, situated at the letter C, it is Seppo Lane from Finland. Seppo, an incredibly experienced member of the ground jury, judged up to the 5-star level and competed up to the 4-star level himself. In fact, he first began judging in 1999. And the other 2 members of the ground jury, situated at the letter M for Ireland, it is John Little. And at the letter E for Germany, it is Wiebke Hennig. So starting their test, first to go on day 2 of dressage for the home nation, Anna Baraka and Exclusive. This combination who have competed as part of the Nations Cup series before. They were just outside the top 20 at Stragholm Nations Cup last year. Now, we mentioned Spain were out in front. They're also the score to beat in the individual stand-ins, as Carlos Diaz-Fernandez produced a beautiful test yesterday with Tahe. 30.5 is the penalty score to beat in the individual standings, closely followed by Felix Vogt and Cartagena, who are in second for Switzerland, 31.1. And in third for the home nation as it stands on the individuals, it is Emiliano Portali, Scuderia 1918 Future. So 31.7 their score. That's the top three individually. Spain out in front as a team and an individual. They're really producing some fantastic riders at the top level of this sport now. As we just saw a glimpse there of our first rider of the day there, Anna Baracca, exclusive for Italy. Like I say, a combination who were just outside the top 20 at Stragom Nations Cup last year. So we have this, like I say, a brand new 4-star dressage test C for 2024. Really exciting when there's a new test for these riders to negotiate. Like a good flying change down at A. Now, flying changes in this test are very, very important because they're double marked. So 2 times the amount of marks given for each flying change, and there's 2 sets of flying changes in this test. So a key movement that these riders will be looking to get right. But of course, at the 4-star level, it is some of the first time that these younger horses may have come across flying changes. But not the case here for Anna Baracca Exclusive. Like I say, had success last year in the Nations Cup. This 15-year-old, but having a little bit of a jumble in this second flying change. Horses often have one way better than the other in their flying changes. Some a little bit more supple to the left or the right. But now into their rein back. Nice halt to start. Now into the extended walk. In the extended walk, these judges really looking for that suppleness over the horse's back and really looking for ground coverage. They want to be seeing an overtrack in that extended walk. And we saw that beautiful relaxation throughout the test yesterday from Carlos Diaz-Fernandez and Tahe, who, like we say, are out in front with a personal best of 30.50. PB at the 4-star short level for them. They looked absolutely delighted when they left the arena yesterday, and you can see why. 30.50, the score to beat today. But we have some very good combinations coming forward throughout the day. Keep an eye out for Matteo Orlandi from the home nation. He's a real young superstar coming up through the ranks, competed in the Young Rider and Junior Europeans here last year and had great success there. In fact, they picked up an individual fourth and part of the winning team. So Montelibretti, a very happy hunting ground for that pair, but we'll have to wait for them. They're coming forward at 11:58. And then in our second half of dressage later on today, we go on to see Sarah Clark with her second ride coming forwards. But now we move to our second rider coming forwards now in the 4-Star Nations Cup. Day 2 of dressage. Anna Baraka and Exclusive just finished their test for Italy. Now our one and only rider coming forward for the Czech Republic. It is Jaroslav Ivic coming forward with Maddock. Owned by Diana Roskova. This 14-year-old. Combination who have been at the 4-star level for a little while now, having competed in the Blenheim 8 and 9-year-old class in the Great Britain back in 2019. That's a real feature class for young rising talent, and always one to keep an eye on when horses are entered in that. That's normally their first time at the 4-star level when riders take them to the Blenheim 8 and 9-year-olds, but it's a real showcase of young future talent. And Maddock was there back in 2019, top 50 at that 4-star. But the bell has gone, and it's time to start here in the Montelibretti Nations Cup for the Czech Republic, Jaroslav Ivic and Maddock. Nice start to the test. Combination who normally average around the 39 mark in this first phase. Now, nice relaxed start to the test. Judges maybe look for a little bit more of an uphill head carriage. Just holding their head a little bit low, but showing a very relaxed picture, which is lovely to see. Now that extended canter into this counter-canter, then a flying change. It all comes up very quickly. Unfortunately, a little bit of a muddled flying change there at A. Like we say, double marked, so could be an expensive mistake. But then there's no time to think about the flying changes because you are straight back into the half pass. Things come up relatively quickly in this new 4-star Test C. Don't have time to dwell on any past mistakes. See how the change goes in this way. Much better in this direction. We saw a lot of horses yesterday have one change better than the other. Very common for horses to have one side a little bit easier. And now for this rein back, right in the centre of the arena, so it's very, very clear for all the judges to see. And sometimes we see a rein back at either end or along the side, and it can be a little bit easier when it is placed next to the boards because it just aids with that straightness, whereas in the middle of the arena, like it is with this test, it really does highlight if these riders have their horses straight in every step of that rein back. Judges looking for 5 steps of rein back. Combination of great success in the freestyle short last year. FEI picking up the win there. Now a nice relaxed trot there on this stretch circle. Lovely relaxation in the neck and the back. Seeing more and more of these trot and canter stretch circles introduced into these dressage tests. While completing their test there, Jaroslav Abik and Maddock for the Czech Republic. It's really nice to see these horses looking so chilled and relaxed after their dressage. So I'll get the updated scores to you as I have them, but after yesterday's performance it was 30.5 from Spain's Carlos Diaz-Fernandez and Tahe, which are the score to beat. As we turn our attention to our rider coming forward from Poland now, it is the turn of Robert Paula and Tosca del Castigo. Tosca del Castegno, owned by Robert himself. Just an 11-year-old. Combination who average around the 35 mark in this first phase at this 4-star short level. Nice difference shown in the extended canter. Heading round for the first of the flying changes. Good for the first one. He finished the year last year just outside the top 15 here at Montelibretti in the 4-star long. Another successful flying change down at A. Not quite square in the halt before the rein back. However, I have a lovely walk for this extended walk. Good over track. That's when the back foot steps over the hoof print of the front hoof. That's what these judges are looking for, really showing these horses working over their back. Ever so slight bit of tension creeping in at the end there. Very expressive extended trot. Looking for a little bit more stretch down in the neck and over the back in the stretch circle. However, on the whole, this has been a very relaxed test there for our rider from Poland, Robert Paula Tosca del Castagno. So we see Robert just exiting the arena, finishing his test there, as we're swiftly moving on now to our next rider coming forwards. Coming forward for Sweden, Henrik Adnovik and Zam F. Combination who, another one who had success at the back end of last year here in Montelibretti, just outside the top 20. And then great success picking up 10th place. It's up at 4-star long last year. Got a few four stars under their belt already. This is F's 4th start at the 4-star short level, 20th for Henrik. Really clearly showing a difference there from the collected to extended canter. Normally average around the 39 mark in this first phase. We'll see what they make of this brand new 4-star C dressage test. Got the 5 steps of rein back. You can see Henrik really just trying to encourage Sam out in the head and neck, trying to make sure he doesn't tuck his nose too far towards his chest. And from that walk, these riders very quickly up into the shoulder in, and the trot work again that comes up quite quickly after. Nice shoulder in down that long side. And the shoulder in straight into half pass, really highlighting these horses' suppleness and fluency. Now making their way round to the end of their test for Sweden. Completing there with that final halt, Henrik, Ordovik and Zameff. Looked like a nice test there for Sweden. I'll keep you updated on the results as they come, but 30.5 the score to beat, set yesterday by Spain's Carlos Diaz Fernandez Tahe CP 21.10. We'll see if that can be contested with today, but this next rider coming into the arena is one that I know many have kept their eye on. A super young rider coming up through the ranks for Italy. It is the turn of Matteo Orlandi and Quality in Time. This 15-year-old junior and young rider levels together. They had super success at the Young Rider Europeans here in Montelibretti last year. It was a fantastic European Championship for the Italians, but especially for Matteo and Quality in Time. 4th individually and part of the team that took that team gold medal. Wow, what a feeling to win a team gold medal at your home European Championships. A real superstar of the future starting their test now, Matteo Orlandi, Quality in Time. So although competing at the Young Rider Europeans last year, which is at the 3-star level, combination have had a couple of top 10 finishes at the 4-star level as well. So no strangers to this 4-star short level. In fact, this is Matteo's 4th start at the 4-star short level. So far, so good in this test as they head round to this counter-canter. From where I'm sat, that change looked a little bit early from the letter A. However, I'm not the one in the hot seat. The one who would have perfect vision of that is the president of the grand jury, Seppo Lane, situated at the letter C. Combination who averaged around the 36 mark in the dressage phase. Good Holt got the 5 steps of rain back. Really looking forward to seeing this combination out on the cross country on Saturday. That is often their favourite phase. Clear inside the time at the Young Rider Europeans last year. But of course that at the 3-star level. Well, an unfortunate break in the extended trot then. Coming round for this trot stretch circle, this is the one part of the test where the riders are allowed to rise. If you notice, rest of the test conducted in sitting trot, that stretch circle, the one part where they are allowed to rise up and down. Well, finishing their test, Matteo Orlandi, quality in time for Italy. Combination who had great success here last year in these Young Rider Europeans. Now continuing on in their 4-star career. So we have just 4 riders left in our first section of dressage here this morning at Montelibretti Nations Cup. And our next rider coming forward will be representing France. We had some beautiful tests from the French yesterday. But what will we see today from Elora de Artola and Seven de Nouvelu NHN? Well, Seven de Nouvelu, in fact, one of the oldest horses we have in the field, 18 years old, and still looking fabulous. It's so great to see some of these older event horses still out at the top of their game. We're starting the test now for France. Elora de Artola, Seven de Nouvelu. Combination average around the mid-30s in this first phase. Combination who had a lighter year competing on the international stage last year, but finished 2022 in good form, just outside the top 30 at Linear 4-star short. Heading round now for this rain back. Little bit of anticipation as she asked for the hole. But they got the 5 steps. Extended walk. Straight away into this shoulder in, and then the half pass, really highlighting how supple these horses are. Now for this stretch down, a little bit inconsistent in the head during the first part of the stretch, looking better on this second half of the circle. Well, coming to the end of the test there, the oldest horse in the field, 18 years old, 7 Denivelu, ridden by Laura de Taylor for France. Like we say, so great to see these older horses still out enjoying their job at the top of the sport. Well, a very happy Laura there, quite rightly so, as we see our next rider joining us in the arena, down to our final 3 riders before we'll have a short break in this morning's dressage. And for Italy coming forward now, we have Ludovica Manzoli and Chocolat de Ligne. Chocolat de Ligne owned by Ludovica. It's very striking 12-year-old. Looking very smart in their military uniform. Ludovica, who took on the ride of Chocolat de Lignère last year from Simone Sordi. Looking very keen down this first centre line. But they got that first hole. Finished their first season together last year in the 4-star short here in Montelibretti. Just outside the top 20 there, placed 22nd. And just look very keen to be back out competing again in 2024. Ludovica doing a great job of just trying to keep some relaxation. This phase wouldn't be their favourite of the three, however, Ludovica doing a superb job so far. A little bit early in that flying change there. Now, if you've got a horse that's a little bit fizzy, this walk could be a more challenging movement for them. But first, of course, it is the rein back. Looked relatively straight. And actually showing more relaxation in this extended walk than I anticipated, which is great to see. Now, this is where this corner could feel like it's a very long corner. If Chocolat de Lignère is eager to trot, Ludovica doing a great job of just making sure they got those walk steps. Yes, they may not have been the most relaxed walk steps, but she made them happen. Tension creeping in this shoulder in. And into this half pass, but dealing with it all very, very well. And actually a fairly relaxed trot circle. It's coming to the end of their test now. Ludovica Manzoli, Chocolat de Lignère. To kick things off in their Nations Cup. Ludovica doing a great job of managing Chocolate Ligne during that test. And now they can turn their focus to the more exciting jumping phases. That's definitely what Chocolate Ligne feels. So just 2 riders left to go before we will have a short break. 19 riders coming forwards today. We had 24 come forward yesterday in this 4-star Nations Cup. 10 nations represented across the weekend. So today is our final day of dressage. Then of course it's all action tomorrow on the cross country. Designed by Eric Winter, who of course is also the designer of Badminton Horse Trials. So it'll be very exciting to see everybody around his track tomorrow. And then on our final day, it is of course the show jumping. So our penultimate rider before the break, it is another rider coming forward for Spain. Like we say, Spain yesterday had a absolutely brilliant day. Currently leading the team standings, and as it is at the moment the individual standings. I'll bring you any updated results as I have them, but it's Spain out in front individually and as a team. But here is another rider coming forward representing Spain, Marcial Pero-Pato and Volney de la Tribel. Volney de la Tribel, owned by Jorge Pero Bigoda. This 15-year-old. Combination who experienced at the Nation Cup level. Competed in 3 Nations Cups last year. Their best result coming here in Montelibretti last year, where they placed 19th. So let's see if they can go better than that this year. For Spain, Marcial Pero-Pato and Volney de Tribel. Well, a good medium trot to start the test off. Combination who have show jumped up to the 120 level internationally. A clean change, just slightly late off the letter A there. Better change in this direction. They've started their year well. They were out competing internationally back in February in Madrid. And the 3-star short there. Finished just inside the top 15, 13th place picked up. Very smooth transition up to trot. Straight into the shoulder in. Doing a good job so far in this test. Heading round to the latter stages as the stretch circle is next. That one part of the test where these riders can rise. The rest of the test must be conducted in sitting trot. Circle, could you a little touch more stretch over the back? While completing their test there for Spain, Marcio Piripatu and Volney de la Tribal. So we move on to our final rider to come forwards before we'll have a short break. Oh, Martial looked very happy with that. Quite rightly so, looked like a very relaxed test. Always great when they give the thumbs up to the support crew. And could be another good score on the scoreboard for the Spanish. Like we said, they had a superb day yesterday, leading the team and individual competition as it stands. But it's most definitely not over. One rider left before our break, and then another 10 to go after that. Well, the second ride of the weekend now for Montelibretti. This time coming forward with Leopold K, owned by the Silver Oak Real Estate Company. This 16-year-old. Like we say, Mattia, 2 rides in this Nations Cup competition. Was here yesterday with Cantelotto, scored a 38.10. Let's see if they can go any better than that today with their second ride. Leopold K. Well, they finished in the top 25 at the Nations Cup in Stragholm last year. The average around the 43 mark in this first phase, but it's tomorrow where they really do excel. They're very good on the cross country. Leopold K only ever had one cross country jumping penalty in his international career, which was an 11 penalties at Stragom last year. 11 penalties, of course, given for if the rider and horse activate a pin device out on cross country. So be very excited to watch them tomorrow. Take note of their names and be ready to hopefully watch another class cross country round. But first, of course, they've got to get this dressage phase done, and they're coming round to their second flying change. A bit exuberant in their flying changes. And you could just see the tension creeping in this walk. Mattia doing a super job of just managing Leopold K throughout this part of the test, because this is quite a challenging part of the test if you've got a horse that's a little bit eager to get on with things. Mattia, a very experienced rider, spent most of the 2017 and 2018 winter season training in Germany alongside Bettina Hoy. Leopold, okay, just touch behind the vertical, tucking his heading a little bit more than we'd like to see, creating that little V shape in the horse's neck. You want to see more of a U-shaped, really showing the horse is relaxed. You can see him just tuck his nose out a bit more in this stretch down, which is really nice to see. But if you've got a horse that's a little bit tense, it can be very difficult to try and avoid them going behind the vertical. While completing their tests there for Italy, Mattia Luciani, second ride for him this weekend, this time with Leopold K, who now have that first phase out the way and can turn their attentions to tomorrow, where they absolutely excel, having only had one international cross-country penalty in their career. So we'll look forward to seeing them tomorrow. Mattia was our last rider before we have a short break, so we'll be back at 12:48 to continue with our final 10 riders of this FEI Nations Cup in Montelibretti, the dressage phase. So hopefully see you back at 12:48 for our first rider back in from Italy. Well, welcome back to the second half of the second day of dressage here at the Montelibretti FEI Eventing Nations Cup. We can just see our ground jury heading back to their judges' boxes to get ready to judge on our final section of riders. We have 10 riders coming forward in our final section. This morning we've seen some fantastic tests. The highest placed rider from this morning so far is Robert Paola in 11th place, with Tosca del Castanego in 11th, like we say, 35.5. Their score is very, very tight in this top section of competition, but the score still to beat, set yesterday by Carlos Diaz Fernandez, and Tahe is 30.50. We're yet to see anybody break that sub 30 barrier, but what will we see from our final section of riders? Well, first to go in this final section, coming forward for Italy, is Andrea Dossimo and Tradewinds Alfredo. Tradewinds Alfredo, this 11-year-old owned by Andrea himself. Just Tradewinds Alfredo's third start at the 4-star short level, averaging around a 46.3 in this first phase, but it's tomorrow where they really do excel. They have an extremely good cross-country record. They've had 18 cross-country starts in their career and have jumped clear 17 times. So a combination we'll keep a close eye on tomorrow. We have some very good cross-country horses in this field, so I think tomorrow is going to be a superb day of action. But back to the test in hand, this brand new 4-star dressage test C. It's a new test for 2024. It's been riding very well indeed so far. Movements do come up quite quick in this test. Unfortunately, not quite getting the change there at A. And another key feature of this test is these flying changes, double marks for each flying change. There's 2 flying changes in this test, so it can be a very, very expensive or rewarding movement. Well, a lovely halt before the rein back. This combination ended last year in the 4-star long here in Montelibretti, picking up a top 25 place there. The dressage last year in that 4-star long competition was a 42.1. Like we say, the scores here this weekend are very, very tight indeed. Just 4 penalties separating the top 10. So it'll be all to ride for tomorrow on Eric Winter's cross-country course. into this shoulder in. And then right away to the half pass. Not a bad stretch down, but we could look to see the horse take their nose out a little bit more and not tuck it so far towards the chest like we've had a few people who have the similar problem with that stretch circle. However, not a bad test at all as I come into the end there. Andrea Dossimo and Trade Winds Alfredo for Italy into their final halt. See the president of the ground jury there, Seppo Lame for Finland. Seppo, of course, who has a wealth of experience on ground juries. Judged up to the 5-star level, competed up to the 4-star level himself, and started his judging career in 1999. He's also joined by John Little from Ireland and Wiebke Hennig from Germany. They're the 3 ground jury members. Now we move on to another rider coming forwards for Italy. It is Roberto Rigonelli and Jakarta Demansi. Owned by Berkdavis Jean Mitchell. Another 11-year-old in the field. So the bell goes and the test will start now for Roberto Rigonelli and Jakarta Demansi for Italy. Combination who has started the year well here at Montelibretti in the freestyle short just a couple weeks ago. They scored a 32.1 there. Just outside the top 25 they finished. Lovely to see these combinations who've been together for a very long time. Roberto and Jakarta Demansi have been paired since the start of this mare's international career. When they've had that connection from such an early age, these riders really do know these horses inside out. Another one of these horses like we were discussing yesterday, who has come up through the junior and young rider ranks with Roberto. Those horses that can make that journey with their riders through the juniors, the young riders, take that big step up to 4-star, and even some of them make that step to 5-star. They really are horses of a lifetime for these riders. And it's lovely to be able to share that journey with one horse. Now, unfortunately, we see a little bit of tension creeping in there in the walk. A little bit of a jog going on occasionally, but there was a nice square halt before the rein back. Roberto doing a super job of just managing Jakarta Dimansi in this walk. It can be very difficult when you've got a fit, enthusiastic event horse who's not so keen on walking during the dressage. Although it is a short portion of the test, the walk, it can feel like an eternity when you're sat on a horse that's so keen to get going. But he dealt with it perfectly. So into this final section of the test, a nice stretch down on this trot circle. You can really see the horse stretching down nice and low, but keeping that nose out that we've been talking about. Not tucking their nose towards their chest, which is fantastic to see. So, completing their test there, Roberto Rigonelli and Jakarta Dimansi for Italy. A horse, like we say, that Roberto knows very well. Have been together up through the junior and young rider ranks. Just having a little scratch before they exit the arena. Feeling nice and relaxed after that first phase, which is lovely to see. Well, we see there Roberto's support team assisting him and Jakarta Dimansi after their dressage. Eventing really does take a village. A whole crew of people behind each rider, each horse. And they all care so much about each and every one of these horses competing here this weekend. Every horse we've seen has been turned out beautifully so far. They're just having their checks by the FEI officials just to make sure that they're wearing the correct tack and the correct bit, and every horse and rider will have this check after their dressage test. of course, the all-important debrief with the team. Just evaluating how he felt the test went. He seemed very chuffed indeed. Well, as they head off, we'll have our next rider join us very shortly in the arena. Lovely weather for eventing here in Montelibretti. I know many riders from the UK make the journey out to Italy to compete at Montelibretti to start their international seasons. Wonderful venue, wonderful events, and of course that beautiful Italian weather. So as it stands in our Nations Cup competition in the individual results, out in front still Carlos Diaz Fernandez Tahe 30.50. Felix Vogue in second currently with Cartagena for Switzerland 31.1. Is very tight in this top 10 because in the third Emiliano Portali and Scuderia 1918 Future 31.7. In fourth, it was a brilliant test yesterday for Italy's Matilde Pivani and Bourne West. Another combination who has come up through the junior young rider ranks together. 32 was their score. For France, it's Benjamin Massey and Figaro Fonroy in fifth with 32.60. Bill Levitt and Hubbard AC in sixth there with 33.4 for Australia. Now our next rider, in fact, riding for Australia. It will be a second ride for Sarah Clark. We saw her yesterday come forward with LV Baloo Jeans, her 5-star ride. The horse who has taken her around Adelaide 5-star. For 12th place there. They completed Burley in 2022 and 2023. I think they have their sights set on badminton this year, but that was yesterday's action. Today she comes forward with her young ride, Cassilia S. Sarah, who made that very, very bold decision back in 2022. She decided to sell 2 of her horses to gather some funds and make the trip over to the UK to tick off one of her dreams of competing at Burley 5-star. She did exactly that, managed to gather the funds, make the trip over with LV Baloo Jeans, complete Burley 5-star. But I know that when she was over in the UK, she was a little unsure if and how she was going to get home because she'd run out of funds. She'd used them all up just to get over to the UK. So a very, very brave lady who clearly had her eyes on the prize. And she's stayed over in the UK since 2022. Has brought Cassilia S over from Australia and is now campaigning her 2 horses in the UK and in Europe. Well, she's started her test here. First 4-star for this 8-year-old. Cassilia S, owned by Sarah herself, John Clark, Jill Clark and Linda Clark. Last year they went to the 7-year-old World Championships at Le Lion d'Angers, representing Australia there. But this is their first step up to the 4-star level. This is the first time this horse will have had to come across flying changes in a competitive test. Nice extended canter difference shown there into the counter. Not a bad flying change down at A. I know this young horse Sarah thinks an awful lot of. Great for her to have 2 horses now over, based with her in the UK to campaign this year. Now, it looked like that flying change came a little bit early. But just 8 years old, this is a young horse at the 4-star level. A little bit of tension creeping in the walk sections here. Now for the rein back. Good start to the trot work as they come round for their extended trot. So a good stretch down on this circle. Another one we like to see the nose poke out ever so slightly, a bit more. Just take the rein forwards a little bit more, but coming round to the final centre line on the whole. A very nice test for this young 8-year-old, first time at the 4-star level. Good halt to finish there. I'm sure Sarah will be very happy with that effort from CCIO4. Like we say, first time stepping up to the 4-star level, and it can feel like a big step for these young horses. So Sarah was our final rider from Australia coming forwards. But now we turn our attentions to Spain. Gonzalo Blasco Botin comes forward now with Starman, owned by Marta Botin. Another relatively young horse in the field. It's so nice to see these young horses, these up-and-coming superstars of the future, just 9 years old. Starman. Another 4-star first-timer here. Just like CCIO4, who we've just seen with Sarah Clark. So we have a score in for Andrea Dosimo, who we saw first in after our break with Trade Winds Alfredo. 55.72 was the percentage score. And 44.3 was the total penalty marks there. That was 56.33 from our judge E, 54.66 from judge C, and 56.167 from our judge at M. So Gonzalo, not only an event rider, works as an investment analyst as well. Combination who average around that mid-30s at the 3-star level. But this is, of course, her first time stepping up to 4-star here at Montelibretti this weekend. I'm not quite established in the changes yet. But as we say, this is the first time they will have had to do changes in a competitive test. I'm sure when these riders make that decision to step these horses up to 4-star, changes are very, very frequent in their training, but can be a whole different ballgame when you're inside these whiteboards. Not a bad extended walk. Good half past to the right now for this extended trot. A little bit more ground coverage needed. However, not a bad effort at all as they head round for this shoulder in. Well, coming to the end of their test now for Spain, Gonzalo Blasco-Botin and Starman, 4-star first timer, I should say, for Starman. Gonzalo looks very pleased with that for their first time at the level. as we have a scoring for Roberto Raganelli and Jakarta Demansi. They were our second rider in after the break. So from our judge at E, 59.167, judge at C, 59% exactly, and our judge at M, 61.167, so a total percentage score of 59.76, and that turns into 40.2 penalties into 26th place as it stands. As we turn now to Susanna Bordoni coming forward for Italy. Susanna, who has represented Italy in Dressage at European Championships in 2009 and 2011. Is a key rider on the Italian teams. She's represented Italy in multiple European, World and Olympic Championships. Comes forward today with Imperial van de Holtakers. Looking good so far for this 16-year-old. Placed 6th at the Eventing Nations Cup last year. Nearly a square halt there before their rein back. They've started the year well in the freestyle short here in Montelibretti a few weeks ago, finishing 10th place there. Nice half pass over to the right. Into this extended trot. Looking very expressive. Well, coming to the end of their test now is the Italian Olympians Susanna Bordoni, Imperial van der Holtekers. Combination who were 18th at the Tokyo Olympic Games. And off to a good start here in this Montelibretti FEI Nations Cup. So down to our final 5 riders left to go here before a full day of cross-country action tomorrow. So still the score to beat. Out in front for Spain, it is Carlos Diaz Fernandez and Tahe. 30.50 is the score to beat. Nobody has broken that sub-30 barrier. What will we see from our next rider coming forward for Italy? Rated as one of the best dressage horses in the field. It is Figi de Melezes and Evelina Bertoli for Italy. Evelina, a very, very talented lady, competed in the modern pentathlon as well as eventing. She was the junior champion in modern pentathlon back in 2004 and 2005, but now has her attention fully set on eventing. It's a combination who were at the European Championships last year in Heredipan. Finished in the top 25 there. Well established at this 4-star level, and what a beautiful positive uphill start to this test. Let's hope 2024 can be as successful as 2023 from them. Last year, from their 5 international runs, they were top 3 at 3 of them. So we'll see what they can do today. Will they be our first rider to break that sub-30 barrier into the 20s? And go ahead of Spain's Carlos Diaz Fernandez? We'll wait and see. Looking like a nice start to the test so far. Looked like a good flying change there. Got the 5 steps of rein back. Looked like quite straight steps. With that rein back in the middle of the arena, really does highlight if these horses are straight during their rein back. We've often seen the rein back placed at either end of the arena, C or A, or along the edge, and it's a little bit easier to disguise some straightness there because you have the boards to help you. However, where it's placed in this brand new 4-star Test C, it's right in the middle, and there's no hiding when it comes to straightness. Slight anticipation up to trot there, but the extended walk looked very nice. Lovely extended trot across that long diagonal. Combination who broke that sub-30 barrier at the World Championships in Bretoni back in 2022. 29.8 is what they scored there. Jumped clear cross country. While completing their test. Here's Evelina Bertoli and Fijide Melezes. We'll be keeping an eye on their score to see if they can creep ahead of Spain's Carlos Diaz-Fernandez. So when we go to another rider coming forwards for Spain, and it's a second ride for Esteban Benitez Valle. Esteban was our first rider of the day yesterday with his other ride, Uteria AA 3510, and actually they held the lead for a large portion of the day yesterday. Produced a beautiful test of 33.8, but is currently sat in 8th place with his other ride. What can we see from his second ride in this Nations Cup competition? So the bell goes for Spain's Esteban Benitez Valle and Escara GP. Escara GP, this 12-year-old owned by Esteban and Barbel Ganif. Another combination who had a superb 2023. Keep an eye on them here because it could produce a nice test. Last year really was a fantastic year for them. They were only outside the top 10 once at the 4-star level. So really, really consistent. And starting off with a very, very uphill, expressive medium trot. Beautiful start to this test, into this counter canter. A bit of an exuberant flying change. Average around the 32.2 mark normally in their 4-star short tests. Really showing a clear difference in that extended canter. A little bit of resistance as they came back into the counter canter. Not the changes they'd be hoping for. Like we say in this test, the flying changes, double marks for those flying changes. So it can be very, very rewarding or unfortunately very costly. You can really see Esteban there encouraging Ascara to take the rein out in this extended walk. A big overtrack, which is great to see. That's what the judges are looking for, ground coverage in that extended walk. Another very expressive extended trot there. This horse just does have a very, very expressive trot. Not a bad stretch down on this circle. Again, you can see Esteban encouraging the horse to take the rein out. Well, completing his test there, Esteban Benitez Valle, Ascara GP, a second ride there for Esteban. He already has his first horse in the top 8 so far. Can he make it 2 horses in the top 10 before cross country? That would put him in a superb competition position going into the jumping phases. Spain already out in front in the team standings, out in front individually as well at the moment. But it'd be great if Esteban can have 2 in that top 10 heading into the cross country. So we're heading on to our final 3 riders left to go in this dressage phase here at the FEI Eventing Nations Cup in Montelibretti, the first of 8 legs throughout the year. From Montelibretti, the next leg is at Chatsworth in the UK in May. So we have a score in for Gonzalo Blasco-Botin and Starman. Starman, a 4-star first timer. So from our judge at E, 56.83. Judge at C, 57.83. And our judge at M, 61.6. So total percentage 58.78. 41.2 the penalty score into 29th place, pushing Luc Chateau back into 30th. Gone just behind Roberto Reganelli and Jakarta Damanzi, who we saw earlier on today. But our final rider for Italy coming forwards now. It is the turn of Fabio Faniciotti and Sutigo George. Second ride again for Fabio. Fabio, the owner of this 15-year-old. Combination who are regularly competing in this Nations Cup series. This is their 9th Nations Cup. Gaining a little bit more suppleness in the canter than the trot. Into that extended canter, really trying to show a difference before the counter canter. And there a clean flying change down at 8. Very useful, like we say, double marks for those flying changes. Not a bad halt before their rein back. Like we say, a second ride here for Fabio. He was here yesterday with Bolt MCR. They scored a 39.6 and currently sat in 24th place. Can occasionally lack a little suppleness in the neck in the trot work compared to the canter work. Actually looked like they regained a little bit more towards the end of that extended trot. Good stretch down on that trot circle, coming round to the final few moments of their test. Here completing the second test of the weekend there for Fabio Faniciotti and Sutico George. As the score has come in for Susanna Bordoni from our judge at E, 70.667. Judge at C, 66% exactly. Judge at M, 66.67. So a total percentage, 67.78. And that converts the 32.2 penalties into 5th place. It's incredibly tight at the top of the leaderboard. So Benjamin Massey, Figaro Fonroy into 6th with 32.6. Susanna just slotting behind Matilde Piovani and Bourne West on a score of 32. Carlos Diaz Fernandez still out in front. 30.50 is the score to beat. And we have 2 riders left to join us for this first phase here, the FEI Nations Cup in Montelibretti. As our final rider for Spain comes forward now. Second ride for Carlos Diaz Fernandez. This time he's aboard Ottawa de Zik. So can Carlos go one more and beat his first ride? Tahe, who currently out in front, 30.50. So this man in a great position so far in the competition. But what can we see from his second ride of the weekend? Carlos Diaz Fernandez, Ottawa de Zik. Ottawa de Zik, just an 8-year-old, another one of our young horses in the field. And has moved up the levels very quickly indeed. Only started his international career in 2022, Ottawa de Zik. So swiftly moved up the levels. This is their second time at the 4-star level. First stepped up to 4-star actually this year. Earlier on at the start of March at Mata Duduk. Scored a 35.3 there. Only added 2.4 cross-country time, so placed second. So a great start to their 4-star career. An exciting young horse there for Carlos. Really is creating quite the string. Not the flying change he would have hoped for. But such a young horse, just 8 years old at the level. Very nearly a square halt before the rein back. Nice half pass over to the right. Now what we see from this extended trot. Looked like good ground coverage at the start of that. Well, they're coming round to finish what has been a very nice test indeed. Just slight greenness coming through in the flying changes, but as expected for just an 8-year-old at their second time at this 4-star level. So completing their test there, Carlos Diaz-Fernandez, Ottawa de Zig. Carlos having a great string of horses at the moment. He's currently leading this competition with his first ride, Tahe. Came forward yesterday with that 30.50. There's still the score to beat. So great start to this weekend of competition for Carlos Diaz-Fernandez with both his young and his experienced horse. As we have just one rider left to come forwards in this Montelibretti 4-star Nations Cup Dressage. And it is ride number 2 for Brazil's Rafael Mamprin Lozano. This time coming forward with Cruswani BZ. Another 4-star first timer here, Cruswani BZ. Rafael, who was here yesterday, as we mentioned, with his first ride master quality. Currently sat in 16th place as it stands with master quality on a score of 37. But what can his young gun produce here today in Montelibretti, our final rider of the day, this 10-year-old gelding? So the bell goes there for Brazil's Rafael Lozano and crew swan EBZ. Final rider of the day here in the Montelibretti FEI Nations Cup. It's a real family affair this weekend here in Montelibretti for Rafael, because he's here with his fiancée Amanda Bruditis, who we saw yesterday with DHI Hacker. So a busy weekend for their family, 2 horses here for Rafael, and obviously Amanda competing as well. A little bit hollow in the flying change, but it did happen down there at A. Crew swan EBZ, a very good jumper. Ran fairly lightly internationally, and he had 4 international runs. Shouldering into that half pass. These movements on this brand new test, this 4-star test C, that shouldering straight into half pass, really highlighting if you have a supple horse. Now coming round to the latter stages of their 4-star test, first time at the 4-star level for this horse. In fact, both of Rafael's horses are 4-star first timers. Nice stretch down on the trot circle. So there we have it, Rafael Lozano for Brazil and Cruzjuan EBZ rounding out our dressage phase here at the FEI Eventing Nations Cup in Montelibretti. So with a few scores left to load, but towards the end of the competition, as it stands, it's Carlos Diaz Fernandez out in front with Tahe CP 2110, 30.5 was their score. So we've seen another fantastic day of dressage here in Montelibretti. Some superb tests coming forward, some PBs, and we're really looking forward to our day of cross country tomorrow. So don't forget to tune back in tomorrow. We have a full day of cross country for the FEI Eventing Nations Cup. And then again on Sunday, I'm Rosie Russell, taking you through the first 2 days of dressage, and I'll be back again for the jumping phases on Saturday and Sunday. So we hope you've enjoyed these 2 days of dressage, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow for a full action-packed day of cross country here at Montelibretti Nations Cup.